It is a day of days.
A day after Texas Independence Day.
But did we gain our independence today? Did you just fucking throw up?
Yeah, how can you tell? It doesn't look like it. Not at all.
Bro, I don't know if you read the post that I just sent not too long ago, but I basically said that Texas is hell, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do a quick
Screen share.
screen share with everybody because Fox 26 Houston, had went ahead and posted a projected winner, right? So this is what I posted. I said retarded MAGA in quotes, Republicans suffering from Stockholm syndrome. MAGA is dead and gone. There's only America, and I put in, parentheses, Texas, for this current one. So there's only America first and not. When Texas quality of life continues to decline, don't complain. You only have your, and I put in quotations, he has no shot, comma, he has no funding, comma, the president but didn't endorse him, in quotation, sheep mindset to blame. If you don't have the spine to take a stand at the poll, then sit in a fucking wheelchair like Abbott and just roll on by.
I like it.
Because that's what it is. That's what it is in the fucking end.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, man. It's fucking ridiculous. It's dumb. There's too many uneducated, dumb voters out there. And I think that's what the big problem is here. Like, standing in the polling line and I'm talking to different people and a lot of these old timers that were there were obviously going for Abbott and they were telling me on why. And I was talking about Doc and I was talking about some other candidates and they're like, well, I can't believe you're going to divide the party. You need to come in here and do the right thing and vote for Abbott, and I'm like, y'all obviously don't know shit. Like, no disrespect to y'all old timers, but man, bro, like y'all don't know shit. And, and I will say this one thing I was happy about was I ended up talking to a Democrat into voting on the Republican side.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you gotta tell the story now.
Okay, so right after you and I got off the phone, I don't have her name on me. So one of the candidates that are running for Harris County, her husband came over and started talking to me, and he was talking to me for a minute, and we were talking about the show and all that, and he's like, we're assuming this is going to go to a runoff for her, and I'd love, if you could get her on y'all's show and all that, and I said, okay, yeah, definitely, and I gave him, one of the stickers and said, reach out to me, So, and he and I were talking and there was other people in and out that was watching. Well, then I got done talking to him and then I walked away and I shot that other video right before I walked in. And, and one of these other guys that was there, he was like, you're posting that stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I heard you talking to him about a show, a podcast. Well, yeah, we have one. And he's like, oh no shit. And we started talking a little bit And he's like, let me guess, you're a Republican. I said, no, I'm actually a libertarian. And he's like, what's that? And I was like, what's that? I was like,
What was he Democrat or
he,
Republican doing
he was
that?
a Democrat. Democrat. He was a Democrat.
Okay, because
And so
Usually Republicans know what that is. So,
yeah, yeah. And he goes, what's that? He's like, I thought it was only Democrats or Republicans.
well, no,
And
that's basically all it's become, unfortunately.
yeah, and I explained it to him, and he's like, man, he's like, I'm kind of that. He goes, I think
Yeah,
I'm kind of that. And I laughed and I said, man, I was like, I said, you probably are. I was like, but you're going in there, and I was like, you're voting Democrat, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I really don't care about most of the candidates, and then he's like, on top of that, he said, I'm here to vote because it's the right thing to do. And I said, no, I understand that. And he's like, he essentially said, his grandparents were uh, kind of beat it in his head of, you're an American, you get out there and vote, you go vote. And
which isn't a bad
yeah,
thing.
no, and so I was like, no, I was like, yeah. I was like, bro, you got to get informed. And he's like, I just don't like Abbott. And I was
Not
like,
a bad mindset.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, look, bro, I've got an idea. And I was like, don't hold me to this. I was like, but it's just an idea. I was like, is there anyone that you love on the Democrat side right now? He's like, really? No. He's like, he's like, really? No. He's like, but I just don't like a lot of these Republicans. And he's like, they kind of seem shitty. And I agree. I was like, okay. I was like, you don't like the all the Democrats, but you lean in beliefs as a Democrat, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I think you're more of a libertarian. I said, look, what if you go in there and vote not against the Democrat Party, but something that could help you as a Democrat or a libertarian? And he's like, well, I don't know any of the Republican guys. They all seem like fucking retards. And I was like, okay. I
Well,
was like,
I mean, I get what he's saying, and to his credit, most of them are, but he
mhm,
probably also hasn't done any research to them, so he's just kind of making a
yeah,
blind assumption. So,
yeah. And I think it's because he's so used to Abbott, and he was talking to me about Abbott. He did not like Abbott.
yeah, which that assumption is a very valid assumption.
Mhm. Yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, how do you feel about this? And we started talking about some different things. And so we started off talking about like veterans and all that, veteran rights and all that. And
Mhm.
he's like, yeah, man. He's like, we do need to do more for them. And I said, okay. I said, and they had these little sheets of paper that some of the people were handing out that had like the ballot or whatever, like the sample ballots or whatever. And I was like, okay, you like that? I was like, no, and the first one was, I was like, either pick, Wesley Hunt or Ken Paxton. I was like, either one will do fine. You know what I mean? I said, I don't know about either which one I lean more towards. And he's like, which one are you going to? I was like, I'm actually going to get down to it. And whenever I get there, I'm going to kind of decide on the spot because I don't know. Like, um, and the only reason I was there on Wesley was because after seeing him last night, after whenever I left from with Doc, um, I went and saw Wesley, and I was like, okay, I don't hate some of his answers on some stuff. So, but
He's a cool guy from what I've seen. So,
yeah, yeah. So like for that, you're gonna want Wesley Hunt or Paxton. And then went to the next one, and I don't remember. Maybe the next one was governor. I can't remember. I think Doc was next, and I was like, okay, for lieutenant governor. I'm sorry, for governor. I said, you don't like Abbott, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you're not a fan of the Democrats. I was like, the one that's probably going to win on the Democrat primary. I said, you just said yourself that she's probably going to win that primary, on the Democrat side. And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, then your fucking vote doesn't matter. I was like, and beyond that, I was like, on the Republican side, I was like, you don't like Abbott, and Republicans are probably going to win anyways. So why don't you vote for who you like out of the Republicans? He's like, I don't know who I like. And I said, I've got the guy. I was like, go in there and vote for Doc. And then we talked about lieutenant governor, and I was like, are you pro cannabis, against cannabis, because you got a couple, veteran supporting candidates there. So we already have a win on that. So, then out of that, then are you pro cannabis for any, like, oh, yeah, we need to legalize that shit. And I'm like, okay. So I told him who was for that on lieutenant governor side, and like we kind of just went down the list, and I was, back and forth. I was like, look, I like this, I like this for railroad commission. And he goes, what the fuck is the railroad commission? He's like,
That's a fair question, because when you
yeah,
think railroad commission, you literally only hear one thing that makes you think of anything, and that's railroad. So that's a
yeah,
fair question. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. But it had me laughing. He goes, what the fuck is the railroad commission? And he's like, what do we do with the railroad nowadays anyways? He's like, so
I get the question. Yeah.
yeah, but I explained to him, railroad commission and shit like
Energy and
that.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then and I talked to him about, Matlock, and I talked to him about, Bo, and he's like, well, where are you going on that one? Look, I was like, I like them both. And I said, that's another one that whenever I get in there, I was like, um,
I went Matlock. So
did you?
yeah.
Um, and then so we went down it, and then we got to the propositions, and I said, look, I can't tell you how to feel on these. I said, but I'm going to tell you what I'm voting. I said, I'm voting yes to everyone except for one of them. And, and I kind of told him which one I was voting no on. Um, and whenever we were going through it, and he's like, I see why you would vote no on that. And he's like, I understand that. He's like, why would you, like, if you've got a better person? And I was explaining to him, like, better people, like, I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Like, if you're the better of the candidates or a better individual, like, put them in office. And it was the question of
Appointing
the
Democrats to
yeah,
committees.
where
Yeah.
you can't do it. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, that's fucked up. I was like, a good person's a good person, regardless. And well, at
I,
first he was like,
I get what they're trying to do. It doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to say, like, well, if this is if this is a Republican controlled like House government, whatever you want to
yeah,
call it, why are we appointing Democrats to committee leads, and then we're complaining about? I get what they're trying to do, but it doesn't. But
mhm,
again, it sounds like
yeah,
they're trying to. It sounds like a tyrannical type thing. Like, and it
yeah.
does. It's a very bad look, and I don't like that. So
Yeah, and like how I explained it to him, whenever he and I were talking about it, I said, because he's like, well, isn't it common for like all Republicans to like all Republicans and all Democrats? And
yeah,
I was like, yeah,
yeah,
but
kind. I mean,
I
they
said,
usually stick to the party line, kind of a thing. Yeah,
yeah, and I said, no, it's dumb. And I was talking about Tulsi Gabbard and some other people, and I was like, look, I said they were Democrats, and I said they were very moderates. And I said, a lot of times when you get that moderate, I said, it's a flip of a coin. Are they Republican or a Democrat? And I explained all that to him, and he was like, oh, yeah, I understand. So he voted no on that one. And, but yeah, like, he's like, and so, we were over there by the lines, and he's like, so am I not a Democrat? And I said, I asked myself for so long if I was even a Republican. And I said, that's
yeah.
whenever I figured out I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Republican. And I was explaining to him, I was like, look, Republicans are dumbasses, Democrats are dumbasses, libertarians are usually free thinkers, but you do get some fucking dumbasses, especially when you deal with the Green Party. The,
Bro. From what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like Herrera is going to go to a runoff against Gonzalez, and that's
no,
fucking ridiculous.
damn.
That right, I mean, that right there should let you know something is up. Like, if that fucking dude who had an affair with his fucking aide and then tried to blame fucking Herrera for it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're
And,
God dang.
and I didn't look into this, but I just know that, of course, Brandon Herrera never misses a chance to troll him. But Tony Gonzalez's name was in the fucking Epstein files.
So one of the text messages I got earlier today, when you were texting me, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I can say the name or not, but one of those names apparently, I got a text on something about one of them was in the Epstein files, or
That I was asking about.
yeah, something about that, something about Epstein.
Well, it's too late now.
Yeah, well, it's not one that I told you to vote for. It was one of the other ones, but
I don't know. The ones that that applied to me up here, because there were there were ones that you wouldn't vote for because it was up here where I live.
yeah,
All I did is I created an algorithm in Super Grok, and I said, look up all their shit and give me a Texas first rating, and then I just kind of looked at their endorsements, and who endorses you tells me almost everything I need to know about you, like
like who I'm not voting for.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I make, I would say, probably about 75% of my choice based off of who's endorsing you, like what kind of big money's behind you. And then I look at what you're standing for and what your experience is, and then I kind of go from there. So
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's real smart. So they're saying Doc's at 11% right now, but these
yeah,
numbers.
so I'm tracking the Texas elections results at like the official site because it's updating every 5 minutes. 10.64%. So yeah, 11%. But
they're
what?
saying only 56% of the votes are in.
So this is what's confusing to me. I don't know how this is calculated, because what's saying is 72% of the counties are reporting, but 21% of the polling locations are reporting. So that's what's confusing.
That doesn't make sense.
That's what the site is saying. This is the Texas site. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
God damn, bro. But a little over 50%'s in, and depending on there's still time. Shit could still start coming in, and he could get it up there.
But here's another thing, and of course, and obviously it's one of those things of like our timeline is going to be biased because of what we look at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel a little weird to think that, because I'm seeing what the total, because it shows what the total vote counts are as well, right? That right now the total vote counts in his 11% are 100, just under 123,000 votes. But that, to me, with what our feed and everything, and what kind of reach we get and everything, that feels like that doesn't feel like it should be that low, just personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think that said Abbott has 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million votes.
Well, what's showing here, again, this is the actual Texas site. It's showing 960,000. So
okay, so that's at 1.2, almost 1.3 million.
That they're probably estimating.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Or it could be this, because at the race total with all the declared candidates, at the bottom is 1.15 million votes total casted and counted. So that might be like how many votes have came in Texas so far.
No. It said under Abbott, it said 1.2 something, and then under Doc it said just right around 200,000, and then the other two candidates that had X amount of votes, they were at 1% and 2%.
Check this out, though. I thought this was funny. because to me, there's been no bigger pick me in the Texas race than Valentina Gomez.
Uh-huh.
Because look what she posted. I have video evidence that my election has been rigged to benefit 84-year-old Congressman John Carter. If I publish this video, they will send me to prison because it involves the voting machines. I will share the evidence only if Donald Trump, Susie Wiles, Secretary Rubio, Elon Musk can guarantee immunity. All of our elections are rigged. Laura Loomer. And she had to tag the biggest fucking Jew dumbass bitch on this fucking platform. Like, this bitch is such a fucking grifting liar. Like, she is so stupid. She is fake as shit. She's a district hopper that just finds a location to set up a PO box as her official residence so she can run for office.
Oh yeah.
And then, but she is such a fucking fake ass, just horrible person. Like there's just,
hey, hold on. Mabry's at 8% with
I saw that.
113. Hop or Pearl is only at 5% with 65,000.
I wonder if we had something to do with that.
I doubt it.
Nah, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, that kind of shit makes me laugh because Valentina Gomez has been trying so hard. I mean, like she the only thing she could have done more to try to fucking get more votes to start an OnlyFans at this point. Like, she has been going above and beyond to try to grift her way to election. It has been comical. It's been fun to watch, but there was never going to be a world that she ever fucking won.
Oh yeah. But yeah. No, Doc's in good spirits. He and I were talking earlier, texting back and forth. And so did you see the video I made of the fishing and reeling in the wheelchair and throwing it back? So Doc's out there and they were fishing all day, he's doing his shit and we were talking about what they were catching, all that. Apparently they were tearing up the redfish and flounder, like they were catching a shitload. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, I'm about to get done with voting, and I was like, hell, I might grab my poles and head down to try to catch something. And we were texting about that, and then I remembered, I'm like, fuck, I got baseball today. Like, fuck. So ended up having to go do that, but yeah, he seems like he's in real good spirits, and I don't know. Which, look, barely half the fucking votes are in, and this could go a lot of different ways, depending on what counties have voted, depending on what kind of shady shit fucking Abbott's pulling. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, probably the only so far good thing that's come out of these Texas election is it does look like Crenshaw, the RINO butt pirate, is finally getting out of office. Thank God. Now, it is yet to be seen if Toth is going to be any better because, like I've told you, in my opinion, he is another type of establishment candidate, but he has a chance to prove us wrong because you and I have both been vocal that we thought Nick Plum was a true grassroots guy that should have been highlighted more. And I thought, just like Doc, and even Doc. I mean, I know Doc didn't do any official endorsements, but Doc loved the dude. He thought he was a great guy. So so it's just. But Nick is a good sport about it. He did say, he posted, and he finally fucking followed us back after all that shit. But he did finally.
I thought he followed us a long time ago.
No, he just barely did today.
Really?
Thanks, Nick. But he did post saying, congratulations to Toth. Like he's a good sport about it.
Yeah, but I think, no offense, but fuck the establishment fucks.
Yeah.
Like, And I know that, you know, we've got some people that we're associated with that really like Steve, and he's going to do great things for the veteran community, apparently, and whatever other bullshit. But,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
thought the same thing with Crenshaw. Look how that
yeah.
happened.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I know that's true right now is that this fucking Trillburger fucking lemonade's delicious. Have you had Trillburger yet?
I haven't been down there. Well, I mean, I have been down there, but I haven't been down there to like go to that side to get some ever since it's been built.
Oh, no shit.
And plus I can't eat the fucking bun, so it feels pointless to have a burger at all.
Just don't be a bitch. Just eat it one time. Like, it's one fucking burger. You can deal with two thin slices of burger or bun and all the meat and fucking onions and everything in the middle. Man, it's
And
fucking worth it.
I'll just go sit on the toilet.
Yeah, it's fucking worth it.
Like, dude, honestly, everybody's like, "Well, just eat a bunless burger." I'm like, there is no point to eating a burger without a
that's
bun.
gay.
You know what
That's
I mean? Like,
gay.
there is zero point to eating a burger without a bun. Like, fuck
Mm-hmm.
you, my life sucks. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
like, and then and Destiny knows I love burgers because I do. I fucking love burgers. It sucks, you know. And she'll be like, I found some. She tries her heart out. She's always looking for different types of, you know, gluten free burgers, buns or whatever. And no matter what, anywhere or whatever you do, they all fucking suck.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just one big disappointment after another.
Well, there's one brand that I had at one point in time. I thought that they were gluten free. Hey, so is that fucking brand that's made by the prisoners or that was founded by the like ex convicts or whatever? That's the gluten brand, right?
I don't have any idea what you're talking about, so I don't know. I mean, and the only thing, which I mean, isn't a big deal because it doesn't bother me, is like tacos. I can't eat flour tortillas, which is fine because I
Hmm.
love corn tortillas either way, anyway. So you know what I mean. So I just eat only corn tortilla tacos.
I love any tacos.
Anywhere I go, or like if I'm ordering like some kind of tacos and it comes like with flour, I just ask them like, "Hey, can you substitute it or just make it corn tortillas?" And they usually can. So
Okay, so that Dave's Killer Bread. I thought that was okay, now I know the name of it. Oh, never mind, I'm wrong.
no surprise.
Yeah, I'm retarded sometimes.
So a lot of people are blaming open primaries, which I so I think there is probably a little bit to blame with open primaries, but overwhelmingly I think it's just people being ignorant.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I talked to a couple people at my work, and one of the guys on my team, he's an old guy. I was talking to him last week. I was like, "Hey, you going to vote on Tuesday?" He's like, "Oh, I already voted." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, who'd you vote for?" Well, what do you mean, like? And he was like, "Well, what do you mean?" Well, it's like for governor. He's like, "Oh, I voted for Abbott." I was like, "Ah, man, you know." He's like, "Oh, you don't like him?" I was like, "No, man. Like he's like, you know, he's just."
Douche.
It started talking about it. He's like, um, "Yeah, well, I don't know any of the other candidates." So I started telling him, "I'm voting for." So I was like, "I'm voting for, you know, Doc Chambers," and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I saw the name. I don't know who that is and everything." I was like, and I started telling him a little bit about it. He's like, "Oh, well, you know, he sounds like a good guy." And I was like, um, I was talking to him about, you know, um, Abbott, you know, because of the fucking property taxes and stuff like that. He's like, and then he started talking about, I was like, yeah, well, we're beginning getting some relief
Hold
this
on, hold on,
coming
hold on,
year.
hold on, hold on. Cornyn and Paxton are tight.
Yeah, they should probably go to a runoff.
Oh, at this percentage, they're 3% apart. That'll be a runoff.
Yeah, like that one I was pretty sure it was going to go to a runoff regardless.
How the fuck is Cornyn higher than everyone?
How do you think?
I don't know. Fucking. So I just don't understand. Look, no one really likes Cornyn, but you know, your old school voters are obviously voting for him. You know, the old heads. But Paxton has a good record, and I don't understand why they wouldn't like him, and I don't know why they wouldn't fucking Be like, hey, look, Paxton's done good. Cornyn hasn't done shit for us. Like, let's throw Paxton up there. Like, fuck. They should really start doing like age limits. Once you hit a certain age, like, hey, bro, you're fucking out of here. Like, no more running.
No, there definitely should be. Um. So okay, let me caveat that. I would say age limits combined with cognitive testing,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously we're in the like Biden versus Trump in the same age range, right? There's a clear difference in cognitive ability. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things of like age with cognitive. Now, I think there should be a top out. Obviously, I think fucking like 85 or 80 or something like that. Like you
I think
get the fuck
that's
out of
too
here.
old. Like,
Yeah, but you got to see a certain point, right? Like what I'm saying here is like, because Trump is what 70 something. How old is Trump? So Trump is 79. Okay, so what I'm
damn,
saying is like,
that's got to be a stale Cheeto.
yeah, right. So what I'm saying is though is like obviously Trump is 79 going into 80. Like he's a very spry, quick-witted guy for his age. What I'm saying is like there is like a certain point in time where it's like, look, obviously this is just not a young man's game or even an older man's game anymore. And I think like that's why I say like 85, and granted people are like, wow, you want people in office at 85, but then you have Joe Biden at the same point in time around Trump's age that clearly cannot function. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, have a top out age regardless, but then you have like these ages combined with cognitive testing. But like, hey, you let's say this the average retirement age was like what 65, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For the
So
most part.
so let's say like this, between the ages of 65 and 85, if you still want to go into any type of public office, you have to combine it with cognitive testing.
Yeah. I could see that.
You see what
That
I'm
would
saying?
be smart. Well, so and then we were talking about last night before I went to Wesley's event. We were talking about capping the like some of the things that you and I've talked about. It was like me, Doc, and a couple other people we were talking about. And I was like, honestly, I was like, I think that they need to cap the amount that can be spent on running for elections and shit like that. But and then I brought up and I was like, honestly, I said I think it'd be better if we did like a lottery, like an election lottery, or not a lottery, like a voter or not voter. What is it fucking called? Jury duty.
Jury
Fuck
duty.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was explaining it to them and they were like, yeah, that's actually a really good fucking idea. And
Like
I was like,
you get like you're saying, right? You get your number pulled, right? Like, hey, it's your turn to do
mhm.
jury duty. But you still kind of have to go through your background and your in testing, make sure you're still like fit to serve and
Oh
everything like
yeah,
that, whatnot.
absolutely.
Like, obviously you don't want someone who's like convicted pedophile, felon, and all the shit
Yeah,
like
oh
that.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
want somebody
Well,
who and everything. So
so like let's say hypothetically, like so for District 38, let's say on for I don't know the congressional seats or some shit.
yeah,
So what I think that they should do is, they let's say they have a lottery of or not a lottery, like a jury pool of I don't know, fucking 100 people out of the district, 150 people, something like that. And then they bring them in like for like 2 weeks of like jury duty and they kind of talk to them all, get their
go
feel
through
for
a
anything,
battery
do a
test.
background check. Yeah. And then they go to their different rooms and they say, okay, write down what you're gonna run on. Like what things do you want to change? Where do you stand here? Are you Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, independent, whatever? And then, well, actually, I think that they need to get rid of that shit. But neither
Yeah,
here nor there.
I
But
don't think they should really identify with anything. So
yeah, but they go through and they put their shit down, and then then let's say these election official people, they look at it and say, okay, this is legal, you can possibly get this done, this is legal, this is legal, and they look at what they can or can't do, and they mark through it, and then they maybe coach them and talk to them about it a little bit, and then out of those, let's say that they have a little election, or they have some sort of thing where it can weed some of them out, and then it gets them down to, let's say they get down to 12 or 14, and then they do a regular election cycle with those 12 to 14,
yeah,
and and then after if they get elected, that terms up, they get an option to rerun in that area or in that district, obviously under a term limit. We put a term limit on it, but they can rerun in that district if they want, and people can revote for them, and then or they can opt to say, hey, I would like to run for this next position adjacent or above, or whatever, and they can put their name in the hat for that. But then there's also a lottery pool or a jury pool for all those other positions, and like to get to governor and shit like that, you let's say you would have to do one or at least one cycle as your lower jury pool, whether it's your um
state rep or something.
yeah, something like that, and then you can go higher. And then I think that the only bypass that you should be able to do for any um any of the juries, I think military, ex-military, I think that you should be able to throw your name in the hat just off the cuff. You've already done your service to the country, and you may have missed your window of those jury selections to be a representative or something. So now you get out of the military and you say, hey, I would like to continue serving, my state or my country. I would like to be thrown into this jury pool.
Would not just a thought, because um would service members who are honorably and go through and whatever, would they also be able to be exempt from this jury duty if they didn't want to, like you say, hey, I served my country in the
Yes.
military, but I
Yeah.
don't, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Optional.
hey, I
Yeah.
don't want to, go into politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 No, 100%. Like if they're not going to make mandatory service for everyone, like out of school, then I think that they should do some shit like that. And then it, Paxton got closer, so Cornyn's lead is lowering and Paxton's raising. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, but on that same terms of on the same thought process of mandatory service, look, I think that Texas, we should get the Texas Guard trained up, funded and running again, and I think it should be mandatory service for you know every Texan out of school. They have to serve 2 years in it. Either they're going to go into the real military, or they work as a guard position in that. They get a little bit of training, they learn a little bit straight out of high school, and they have to do some sort of mandatory service.
Yeah. What's funny is when we which I know we'll probably get into this, or we can just touch on a little bit. When we fucking started bombing Iran, um at was it like two, it was like 2, 3, 4 in the morning our time, right?
Yeah,
Because we
yeah.
did it daytime over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um obviously I'm a fucking sleep, I'm laying down. Um fucking of course, and then Maddie's awake. And so she starts seeing it all over TikTok and whatnot. So she sends me a text while I'm asleep, like I'm gonna wake up, and her text is, "Are we going to war?" And I'm like, and then I wake up and I see it in the morning. Oh, so it was Friday night. right? Because I wake up Saturday morning, because I slept in a little bit because me and Destiny went out Friday night. And so I wake up Saturday morning, and then as soon as I get my phone, I'm like, what the fuck? And then Maddie and Destiny was like, what? And I was like, Maddie texted me at 4 o'clock in the morning. She's like, what'd she say? I was like, are we going to war? She started laughing. I was like, what does
Yep.
she think? Does she think I'm going to solve the world's problem at 4 a.m.? Like, what the fuck? Like, and so eventually, whenever Maddie was awakening, I was like, baby girl, texting me, are we going to war at 4 in the morning? And she's like, well, are we? I was like, listen, to be honest, I don't fucking know. But here's the best thing about it for you specifically. One, because of your biology, you're not getting drafted. Congratulations. Okay. Two, stop worrying about something that's going on the other side of the fucking world. Okay. And texting me at 4 in the morning, I'm not going to be able to solve the world's problems for you. Okay. Stop worrying about shit that is on the other side of the world that doesn't affect you. Stay in school. Stop worrying about it. Okay. It's not here. It's over there. Am I happy about it? No. Do I like it? Fuck no. But guess what? It's over there. So stop worrying about it. She's so fucking worried. Like, I remember whenever when we fucking did the nuclear shit, when we had all the nuclear facilities, right? And she was going on about like, oh my God, are we going to war then? Right. And then she was fucking saying, oh, do we need to leave the country? Like, what if they all, and I was like, sweetie, you realize that you leave the country as an American, as a young female American at that, you go live, you leave the country and go anywhere else, you're a number one target, period. Like you need to stay here. The fact that you're here, be grateful. Okay. You leaving makes it worse for you. So I was like, calm down. I was like,
oh yeah,
and I told her, I was like, there is no realistic possibility that any foreign government or military, terrorist actions don't count. We're not talking about terrorist actions, but there is no realistic ever outcome that a foreign military or government will make it here and invade us, because it just won't happen. Okay.
oh yeah,
So I was like, calm the fuck down.
oh yeah.
Like, calm down.
Well,
we are okay.
and it's funny y'all had that conversation. So I'm not going to say who I had the conversation with last night with, because I don't know if they want that out there. But last night, me and one of the candidates were bullshitting at like, I don't know, midnight or something like that. We were talking on the phone, and I couldn't remember the exact quote, and I don't remember everything about it, but I think it was Russia. At one point in time, Russia was asked why they would never invade America, and whoever it was that they had talked to, whatever general it was, he said because of Texas. And they said because Texas has so many guns and they're all pissed off cowboys over there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny, but when we were talking about it, he was like, yeah, he's like, I can see that. But I was like, man, I wish I remember what I read that or watched that on or something like that. But it's the only reason why Russia would never invade us was because of Texas.
Well, what's funny is like, I've watched a lot of these, quote unquote scenario videos on YouTube of USA versus like the world, or USA versus like a Russia invasion. Like, they create these crazy scenarios, right? And there was one that was literally USA versus the world invading, right? And now people would say, oh, there's no possible way that the US could stave off the entire world. But this dude fucking made it happen with his scenario of how we're strategically placed all over the goddamn globe. And so what he did though, right, is like, he started showing off like, oh yeah, well, we're over here, we're over there. And, and the first thing we're going to do is try to take control of supply chain, right? Strait of Hormuz and all stuff like that. But we have our bases and stuff like that. So like, where they might start to get a little bit of traction here. We have our our bases with nuclear control capability. We'll easily seize it back. And then it got to the point where people would be staging from Mexico and Canada, right, to do ground invasion, because land invade or sea water coming in from the water is just not going to happen. Like they're not, because we have our bases strategically placed across the coast for that reason. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But what it did is it did show like the northern border is like would be the point where they could make some headway, just because there's a whole lot of nothing up there, right? But what was funny is the guy in the video said like, now here's what people underestimate when it comes to America. Uh, while their armed forces number roughly around like, god damn it, dude, I hate not having this number off the top of my head because I used to.
The other country that said they'd never invade America was because was Japan, and they said because there's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Yeah. Okay, so we're looking at about 1.3 million it said active duty, right? And that does include guard and reserve, right? Now, they were saying like while the numbers of active duty personnel are just over 1 million, that doesn't take into account the massive armed civilian population that is not going to let a foreign nation, multiple foreign nations, invade and take over its land. Because all it said was, now you just have a bunch of pissed off rednecks that have been waiting their whole life for this, pushing other countries back.
Oh yeah. That ain't no bullshit.
I know, right? I was like, fuck yes, don't mess with us.
But no, fucking and it's funny you saw that because me and Mabry were talking, and so there was a guy, and God, I'm trying to remember what it was. So we were talking about Civil War and shit like that, if Civil War were to happen again. And because there was a guy that he had an algorithm, and he like plugged it into AI or something like that. And what would happen if there was a civil war in the US in today's era? And what it said was that and it was broken down like a civil war between conservatives or Republicans and Democrats. And it said 100% the Republicans would win, and it said that the war would only last between like 8 and 10 days, but Texas wouldn't even be involved in the war. If it were to happen, Texas would secede, and the algorithm showed that Texas would secede, and they would fight anyone that tried to come down after us. And what it was saying though was that Mexican would actually try to invade. Like the probability was Mexico would invade Texas. Texas would actually fight back and win against Mexico and ultimately take Mexico over. Yeah. And I was like, holy fuck. And because part of the algorithm, what it said in the algorithm was the amount of service members that are from Texas, all of them would essentially go AWOL. And
they would come back to the motherland.
Yeah. I'll say this much. If I was running for anything in the state and Abbott fucking endorsed me, I'd stand up on a fucking soapbox and be, no, don't want it. No, please no. Take that shit back. I'd turn down your fucking, Briscoe King. I'd be like, I turned down your fucking endorsement in a heartbeat.
Fuck. Hang on.
What?
I got a boo-boo. I'm bleeding. Let me get a Band-Aid. That's the good thing about us having our own independent energy grid.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then the amount of oil and gas infrastructure we have and all that, like, we could essentially be completely self-sufficient. And I think that algorithm showed that we could be self-sufficient here.
No, yeah.
But
I mean, I am so for the fucking Texit movement. I mean, like, fuck everybody else. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's pretty fucking nuts that this entire deficit we've got in the US, but the surplus we have in Texas. You know what I mean? And everything's pretty much taken care of. But the thing is, that also shows that we're taxed too fucking much.
Oh yeah.
Way too fucking much. Which taxation is theft, y'all. Taxation is definitely fucking theft.
Yeah. I mean, the if anything has been proven with this particular primary, when it comes to Texas, is that global interests, PACs, all this stuff, like they're in control of everything because and anyone who is trying to dispute the fact, I know what they're going to do. They're going to make the argument, well, if that was true, Crenshaw would have won. No, uh, they've played out the useful idiot in him. So,
Yeah.
to me, see if you agree with my assessment. To me, he's the easy sacrificial lamb to try to keep the cog moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
And um, so that's my theory on that. But and I don't know if how many of the posts you've read that I put up, but like anytime I posted when it comes to talking about Doc or anything like that, I put that we need to in the Texas Uniparty, the globalist
Oh yeah.
Uniparty, right? Because anyone who really thinks that this is a left versus right issue is just ignorant. It's
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah, right now we're just voting in the primaries, for people because the system is so corrupt that we have to go off a two-party system. Do I like it? No. Should it be that way? This way? Fuck no. But that's the way it is. That's where we're at right now. So this is where we have to be.
Oh yeah.
But to people thinking that it's like, well, it's only the fucking Democrats. No, it's not, because here we are in real time showing the fucking corrupt Republicans that are no goddamn better than the Democrats that, we sit here and say, well, it's all the Democrats' fault. It's all the Democrats are doing this. And if we don't keep Texas red, then it's going to be the Democrats that do this. It's like, well, what are they doing really that's different other than the little dash after the name is R instead of D?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're two sides of the same coin from what I'm seeing. And someone got pissed off at me when we were talking the other day at one of these events because I said, bro, I was like, here's the deal. I was like, let's say hypothetically Abbott does pull this fucking out, and Grok doesn't, or not Grok, Doc. I'm sorry, I'm reading at the same time. Let's say I was looking for that fucking algorithm on the Civil War thing. I was like, let's say that Doc doesn't get in there. I was like, bro, I was like, I'm probably gonna vote fucking Democrat on, like, I'm not voting Abbott. And I would rather risk having a Democrat in there for the next 4 years to show what Texas could have had and what they need to have. You know what I mean?
Somebody else said that. They commented on one of ours. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure I didn't comment on that?
No. Because when I saw it, the first thing I thought about was you.
Yeah. Like, but someone got pissed off at me the other day for saying it. And I said out loud in front of a lot of people, like, if Doc doesn't get in there, I'm not voting Abbott. I don't give a fuck who the Democrat is. I'm voting Democrat. I'm voting someone that I want to win against fucking Abbott because I would rather risk 4 years of a fucking Democrat And then all these Republicans and like actual Texas citizens wake the fuck up and say, bro, this shit's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Someone got mad that someone commented on. So did you see the video I posted like after Destiny 9 voted? And I was like, Doc Pete motherfucking Chambers.
Yeah. I saw that.
Somebody commented asking me not to slur his name like that.
Well,
Said, please don't slur his name like that. It's not his middle name. He is to be called Sir after all he's done for this country.
well,
Maybe I should have said Sir Doc Pete motherfucking Chambers. You know what? That's exactly what I'm gonna comment.
oh fuck. Like obviously they haven't seen much of our page and how much support we have behind them, or the fact that we're both ex-military. So I guarantee he's been called worse and
And
in a
done.
derogatory sense. God damn. Whatever.
So right now is showing the early votes for Doc are 121,000, and then the total votes are 145.5. So that's the difference between early voting and day of. And it's showing early votes for Abbott is like 959,000.
Really?
And then total votes for Abbott are just over 1.1 million.
I don't know, bro. Like I honestly don't trust our election system, to be honest with you. And I don't know, but like I said a couple weeks ago, you know, it's hard to figure out the algorithm on voting because a pissed off voter is going to take to social media and rant more, where a passive voter that's just going to vote for Abbott because it's a passive voter isn't going to say shit. Now, the other thing is, so what we were talking about in the parking lot today, before I left, was I was asking a couple of the guys that were out there because they were all out there with signs and shit like that, like trying to give out the little pamphlets and all that for whatever candidate it was. And we were talking back and forth. And one of the things that was said though was like they've been asking, you know, you know, who do you lean towards? You know, who do you, whatever, blah 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 blah. And apparently, and I never thought about this, a lot of Republicans that, know that a Republican's going to be back in, and a lot of them that assumed that Abbott was going to get back in, they weren't going out and voting because they looked at it as, okay, well, the rest of Texas is going to do the job for me. I ain't got to take time out of my day to go do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's under the same guise of fake polling like during the presidential election cycle to get people to stay home.
Yeah. And, and they were saying that like they're seeing a lot of that. Like they were seeing a lot of people voting for other governor candidates, not Abbott, but you know, and there was some different random ones. Like that was a pretty fucking long list of fucking governor candidates, but they were hearing all different people with different names, and a couple votes here, a couple votes there, some votes for Doc, shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. And then fucking what is it? Jeff Yuma or whatever. Jeff Yuma's. What's that motherfucker's name?
For who?
District 38 congressional.
Jeff Una. Yeah. He's got 1.88%.
Yeah,
Looks like John Bunk. The fuck is that?
okay. So they were talking to me, and whenever I was fucking walking up and like trying to get me to, oh yeah, man, you should put your vote in for him. And like I was very blunt, and it was funny because, and I even said it to that other chick's husband that was talking to me about voting for, he was trying to get me to vote for his wife, which she actually sounded like a good one, ex law enforcement, all that stuff. But it's a smaller position. I forgot what it was. Um, but we were talking, and he's like, "So you're not voting for them because they're trying to talk to everyone?" I was like, "No, man, he don't even live in the fucking district." I was like, "Fuck him." Essentially, like, and like, I don't mean to be that way, but that's what I said. I like whenever I was walking up, and well, have you heard of Jeff? And I'm like, yep, I've met him at a couple events or whatever, blah 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 blah. And she's like, he's gonna get your vote. I was like, no, he not in the district. And she looked at me crazy, and I'm like, not. And he was like walking around the parking lot trying to get people to fucking vote for him. And I'm like, no, fuck him. Like, if
Huh.
you don't live in the district, don't run in the district. I'm sorry, you're not getting my vote, and I don't think anyone should fucking vote for you. I don't think that you should fucking run in a district you don't live in.
Which is insane. Like, why would
You know, yeah, okay, you own a fucking business that's got a location in the district. Fuck you. You don't live there. That means you don't have to worry about your actual property taxes. You don't have to worry about, you know, fucking essentially anything for the area.
yeah.
You have to worry about everything over in Tomball or whatever, and not Harris County right here. So I don't know. It that drives me nuts. And just because you can have a fucking address somewhere, well, guess what? I can have an address in Montgomery County because I moved from there, and all I got to do is fucking call someone and say, "Hey, bro, I'm going to use your address," and I can go run
Or
in fucking Montgomery County. You
or
know what
you
I
do
mean?
what Valentina Gomez does, set up a PO box.
Mm-hmm. Or that, yeah. But no, I just think it's fucked up. But yeah, damn. What's the numbers looking like on? So they still don't have like actual numbers coming in on Doc.
No,
Eh,
that's what they are.
I thought you just said that was all the early voting shit
No, I said
numbers.
early votes are showing. The early votes are showing counted 121,000, and then the total votes are 146,000. So the difference is what came in today.
10,000.
It's like, dude, where's your fucking math? That's like 25,000.
Oh, I thought you just said 130 something thousand, 140 something.
Dude, open your goddamn ears. 121
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah.
early, 146 total. God,
Yeah, I don't see only 20,000 fucking people voting for him today.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying. Something is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But with all the fucking people that corrupt ass Abbott's fucking tied in with, like, you don't know what they're fucking doing. Like, election fraud all day long. You know what I mean? What do you see? Why does your face look
So
like that?
this one page, Silent Majority,
Mm-hmm.
he follows us, and I know he's been a huge supporter of Doc. Says investigate heart voting systems when the community that Doc resides in, everyone knows him, votes 11.3% for Doc, and he had 90% of the community supporting him. So his own community that Doc lives, what this guy is saying is that he was polling 90% support in his own community, but there's only showing he's got like just over 11% of the votes in that community.
That don't make no sense.
And my precinct, we use paper ballots. We didn't have the machine, so
Mm-hmm. Hmm. So what we
the fuck
used
is on your
was,
finger?
I don't have any in here. Pine tar.
You just all of a sudden just goes over here. I'm just like, the fuck is on your goddamn finger?
Yeah, fucking sticky fingers.
Yeah. So I mean, me personally, I don't know if, yeah, me
I don't know
personally,
if you can see it on the ball.
I don't particularly trust voting machines. So
Yeah, so we had the ones that the electric ones that you put the paper in and you click on it and then it goes through it or whatever. Yeah. Which whenever we were standing in the line and I was talking to a couple different people, I was like, yeah, make sure, after you put it through and hit that button and it prints through, when you pull it out, look through it
make sure I
before.
got it right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm fucking God. All you dumb motherfuckers that went out there and voted for Abbott. What the fuck, bro? Like, if these numbers are accurate, wake the fuck up.
It it's truly insane because you gotta ask yourself, like, because I posted this, like, ask yourself 3 very simple questions. Okay, what was your life like in Texas if you lived here 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
What is your life like now, 10 years later, in Texas? And is it better or worse? If it's worse, do you trust that fucking Abbott is going to do anything to make it better if you just give him 4 more fucking years?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always like, well, let's just give him a shot, like, no, like, what? And again, this is that fucking victim Stockholm syndrome mentality of like, well, Doc has no shot. According to who? According to that
Yeah.
fucking faggot ass Tyler Boyer?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
well, he doesn't have, big donors. Okay, that's by fucking choice. And what does that say more, that he refuses to take big donors, so he refuses to be controlled by interests? Again,
Yeah.
what does that fucking say about character, that
Oh,
he
yeah.
will not bow down to people that give him money?
Oh, yeah. Like, would you rather an individual that's not taking money from someone like Meta and
APAC?
well, no, well, we could take it there, but I was like trying to play fucking fair on this. Let's say Meta
No,
or someone like
they're
that.
not playing fair. I'm not playing
Well,
fair.
let's say someone like Meta, because people might understand that more. Somewhere that is putting in these data facilities in our state, that's siphoning off water, that is raising the energy bills, water bills, causing droughts, all that shit for certain areas, certain regions.
Yeah,
Okay, that's the type of motherfucker they don't donate to Abbott. Abbott's gonna fucking slide that fucking permit across the table. He's gonna rubber stamp it. Where someone like Abbott, or I'm sorry, Doc, who's like, no, I'm not taking money from them. Well, guess what? They can't come to him and be like, hey, remember that $1.5 million, that $2 million, I gave to you, and then I got this person, that person to give you money. Like, that goes a long fucking way, bro. And then you look at Colony Ridge. Like, here's my thing. How the fuck is anyone voting for fucking Abbott this cycle when he took $1.5 million from Colony Ridge? Oh, I know, because the old man that was in front of me in line, we had a conversation about it. He wasn't even aware that happened.
because
He had no clue.
the fucking media didn't cover any of that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in line. I was bullshitting with the old man in front of me, and he didn't know anything about Doc, but he knew, that Abbott was a Republican and Abbott has been our governor. And he asked me, we were talking, he's like, well, why aren't you just voting for, Abbott? He's going to win. And I was like, well, number one, it's that complacent mentality and that, you know, sheep mentality. I don't have that. And I want change in the state. I want better. And I was like, I don't know how you can feel good about voting for someone who took $1.5 million from Colony Ridge with all the drugs and illegal immigration and all that, up in there. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, the
Which is right there near
investors.
you fucking guys, and that's so fucking insane. Like it's
Yeah,
literally
everyone.
right there, just north of Houston or New
Hmm.
Caney. Yeah. God
Yeah,
damn
yeah,
it.
yeah, right behind us. But yeah, he had no fucking clue it even happened. And whenever I told him, like, his face was like, oh,
And
really?
let me guess, it didn't change his fucking mind.
I don't know, because he started asking about Doc, and I was like, "Would you rather fucking vote for a cripple that is taking corrupt money, or," I said, or a Green Beret that was a heart surgeon, served our country, and I said he was also a whistleblower, and he was
Testified
all
against
about
the
informed
DOD.
consent.
So
Yeah, and I was talking to him about that, and he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Why don't they talk about him at all?" And I was like,
why do you think?
who controls the media, bro? I was like, all your mainstream shit. I was like, who controls that? I was
Especially
like,
here in Texas.
yeah. And I was like, it's all that old establishment shit. And he's like, you think that's right? And this, the old man was old. He was probably in his 70s, maybe 80s. And he's like, really, you think? And I'm like, 100%, man. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Not talking out of our ass. We actually know what we're talking about. Like,
yeah, but I don't know, because he was asking, and he goes, and he actually, I think he asked me, he's like, yeah, I don't know what he looks like or who, and I pulled up a picture of Doc in the cowboy hat and all that, and I showed it to him. He's like, oh, okay, 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 and it was like he looked at it and it like resonated with him, and then we got further in, and we were talking about something. I think I forgot what he said, but he was asking about people again. Oh, they had like the sample ballots on the wall, and he said something. I was like, yeah, Doc Pete Chambers um,
and they had him at the
is
very bottom of the fucking thing
really so
on ours.
on mine. He was like in the middle. He was like
On mine, he's at the very bottom.
Al Green's four points down.
Which we were talking about that right before we started recording. Like, obviously, not really part of our typical talking points when it comes to because he's Democrat. But um, who's the guy that's beating him right now? What's his name?
That Christian Menifee or whatever.
Yeah. Now, both of them don't care. But when it comes to, like, obviously we would on that side, like, we would much rather Christian and Menifee win the seat than Al fucking Green.
Yeah,
Um, and
they're saying Menifee. They're anticipating Menifee getting over 50%.
that's good.
Because they're only at 70% right now. He's at 48, high 48, and they're anticipating him going over 50, which is good, because there's four other people in that race, and each of them are getting 3 to 4%, and
Yeah.
then pushing Al Green down. So hopefully can push him where he's not getting go into a runoff with Al Green. But no, Al Green needs to be out the fucking door. All he stirs is a shit pot. Like, look, if he was a good Democrat and he was more of a moderate and wasn't this fucking socialist fuck face.
Like I was telling you, like he's just there to start shit and make himself known. Like he like just like Jasmine Crockett, just like Rashida Tlaib, just like Ilhan Omar. They're ignorant, they're stupid, they're not doing anything. I respect Ro Khanna because of what he's been doing with Thomas Massey and actually working across the aisle to get shit done, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the Epstein files. You know what I mean? Um, but people like Al Green and fucking Jasmine Crockett, Rashida Tlaib, like they're just there to get that touch of fame and not get shit accomplished. So they're just loud, obnoxious, and fucking stupid. Which, to go back real quick on the data centers, right? When you were talking about having a big donors like Meta. So I'm reading Colonel West's book, Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, from when he was running for governor.
Mm-hmm.
And I read across part of it where it talked about when the data centers first started getting set up in Texas. And when the Texas legislator actually passed bills for tax incentives for these fucking data centers.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm going to bring it up now because so I was looking it up while you were talking. So, and this was back in, was it 2015? Or it was expanded in 2015, but I think it happened. Yeah, so it happened in 2013. Okay. So, House Bill 1223 passed during 83rd regular session during Texas legislature in 2013. This bill added section 151.359 to the Texas tax code, providing a temporary state sales tax and use tax exemption, which is usually 6.25% on certain tangible personal property essential to the operation of qualified data centers such as computers, electrical systems, cooling equipment, and electricity itself, like actual just electricity. To qualify under this bill, a data center must be at least 100,000 square feet, involve a capital investment of at least 200 million over 5 years, raised from the original 100 million threshold, and create at least, listen to this, create at least 20 full-time jobs. So 100,000 square feet data center and all that investment, it just only has to have 20 full-time jobs. This exemption period of all of this tax break and incentive, this exemption period is typically for 10 years.
Really?
Uh-huh. 10 years of investment for investments. Oh, look. So exemption period is typically 10 years for investments between 200 to 250 million, and 15 years for those exceeding 250 million through local sales taxes, though local sales taxes to apply. Then in 2015, House Bill 2712 passed during the 84th regular session, which added section 151.3595 to the tax code specifically for large data center projects. It offers similar state sales tax exemptions, but with higher thresholds, at least 500 million in capital investment over 5 years, creation of at least 40 jobs and a contract for at least 20 megawatts of transmission capacity. The exemption can last up, listen to this, the exemption can last up to 20 years. The tax exemption can last up to 20 years.
I wonder how much they had to donate to Abbott to get all that passed through.
These incentives aim to attract data center development by reducing costs on equipment and operations, but they do not cover local taxes or property taxes unless negotiated separately through mechanisms like Chapter 313 agreements, now expired, blah, blah, blah. Applications for blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So that's why we've had such a huge influx of data centers, because the Texas legislator made it more tangible for them to come here. Oh, fuck me, man. But
did you see that text I sent you a minute ago?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane that Israel bombed that school.
Not trying to conflict with anything you're saying, because I see a bunch of shit come through the timeline, right? Like, because obviously one of the first things I saw was that during the strikes, it was so it was being reported that, well, at least what I was seeing is like U.S./Israel strikes hit a school. Like, it wasn't specifically saying it was either Israel or U.S. It was just saying during that time frame when they were bombing, right? But then I saw, again, I don't know who's lying or who's telling the truth. It's all propaganda in no matter what. That what it was, again, I don't know if it's true. What I saw reporting was that it was I don't know if it was an ICBM or if it was just one of, Iran's, ballistic missiles going off, whatever, going up right that. And then it like malfunctioned.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
So they were saying, no, it was that hit the school. I'm just like, dude, I don't know. None of this should have happened in the first place. So
Yeah. No, the one I just sent you, a different one. That one is Israel specifically bombed that school because there was Iranian officials in that school because they were doing that press conference at that school,
yeah.
apparently. So, which is fucking nuts, bro. Like, you can't be doing that bullshit. Well, and then I saw something else that was another report was it was saying that Iran bombed a hospital, and I was looking at it, the before and after, and I'm like, that's not a fucking hospital. That's just a fucking building. Like, not a I don't know if it was
Well,
yeah.
and on top of that, we have fucking military members that are dead now, our own, and again, this just shouldn't have fucking happened. And well, I'm waiting for more of this to develop before we really dive into it on an episode, because it's still, developing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I already saw, and even on the post, it said there was nothing confirmed. And again, I haven't seen really anything on it yet. Because one of the biggest things that I thought was a very, honest question, even though is so you remember during the Venezuela thing, right? Like when we were posing the question, I was like, look, you got to pick one. If you can't have it, a no, and it had to be a yes, and you have to pick it if you're going to be one of these two things, right? Go in and be there for 20 years and get nothing accomplished, or go in with Delta, kick some ass, take some names, and leave, within 8 hours. Which would you choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, don't think this should have happened. Obviously, we're not up there, and we can't fucking make that call, right? So, it's one of those, here's your two choices. You can't say no. You have to pick one of these two choices. We do what we're doing now. We go in, we just kill all the leaders and start bombing people, and to force regime change, because that's obviously what we're doing here, right? To force regime change, but we have no one to install, so it's just chaos ensuing.
Yeah.
Basically what we did in Syria, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we go in with a more strategic plan to force regime change, to install someone that whatever, like I don't know, what would you say is a quote unquote successful time that we've installed a good regime change? You know what I mean? Like you have to pick one. It's a shit sandwich. You can't get out of it. So which one are you gonna eat? You know what I mean? But because right now,
Okay, so here's what I would do. I would rather go a strategic boots on the ground approach. Just because I look at it as you do that quick, swift action, take everyone out. They're going to try to rebuild fast. They're going to have so many fucking internal problems. You're going to be fighting that war again in fucking 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So you're going to draw it out anyways.
exactly.
Might as well, if you get in there, you essentially get in there, rub elbows with their leadership or whomever you want to take over, have some people in mind. And
Strategically install the person you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
install some good democracy over there, maintain it through a couple election cycles and such, and then move out. Not like we did over in Iraq,
Iraq
and shit like that.
or
Because look,
Afghanistan.
or Afghanistan, yeah, they were on the right path, and then we pull out, and guess what? Taliban
Two,
gets in there and takes everything
two
over.
weeks, two
So
weeks later, nothing.
yeah,
But
So
because here's why I say this, right? Is because, and some people have brought it up, even Matt Walsh, which like every now and then he'll say something that is like worth being like, you know what, that was a good thought when you're not, getting being the whipping post for the Daily Israel, right?
mhm,
But he said like, okay, we went in, we killed all the leadership. Now what? Who's taking over?
yeah,
Because there was no plan. There was
yeah,
no one to put in place. And now what I saw reported is that Khomeini, the leader of the Ayatollah, right, who was in
yeah,
charge, who was confirmed dead, that where it is now is that his son, who is supposedly worse than him, is now going to be taking over. So it's like, what the fuck did we even accomplish at this point if his son,
Nothing.
who is now being reported that is worse than Khomeini, is just going to take over and keep on fucking trucking along? And this is what, and to me, it's just like, oh, well, sorry, now we have to keep on going. And now what are we going to do? We're going to invade fucking Iran.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking dumb decisions, bro. Like, so fucking stupid.
It's like, look, and me and you both talked about, it's like, we don't fucking make excuses or sit here and say that there is not bad fucking radical, Islam and Islam people that are, that have done bad shit. And we know that the Ayatollah and the regime in Iran are fucking evil and horrible. They've done bad things. We know that. We accept that notion that is true, but they're there. We are here. That is their country. We can't fucking do anything about it. Like, it's not us. Okay.
Just like Venezuela. Like, how do we go in and take over their fucking president and then charge him with fucking
U.S.
gun
crimes.
gun possession charges? Like, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah.
He was on sovereign land. He was on their land. Like, you fucking retards.
Yeah. And then when on top of that, it's like, because people are like, well, they say death to America. They say death to America. Okay, I get that. I understand it. It's like, but
you got Antifa and you got fucking Democrats that say death to America.
Yeah,
like,
but here's the thing though. It's like, do they hate us? Like, I mean, and look, I'll say one thing. I'll say one fucking thing. Like, there is a lot of Iranian people that are very happy about what we did because they don't like the regime either. I get that. Okay. And I feel for them, and I'm not upset that they're happy about what happened. Okay. I understand. But they're not
our problem. Honestly.
Exactly. But it's like, look, I'm happy that you're happy. Fine, cool. But now look what's happening. Our service members are dying for something we shouldn't have got involved in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on top of that, now there was no plan to transition forward. And now look what's happening. Now you're probably going to get worse.
Oh yeah.
And so here we are now stuck with, what the fuck do we do now? Okay. Because do they hate us? Yes. Do they shout death to America? Yes. Is that bad? Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to fucking, be friends with someone who says death to us. But here's the thing. Who fucking cares? There's always going to be someone who fucking hates you. Period. There's always going to be someone who fucking hates you. Who gives a shit? Let them talk shit. Guess what? They can't do anything about it. They can talk all the shit they want. They're going to carry a big stick until we shoot them in the fucking face with a gun.
Yeah.
Okay,
no,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, who fucking cares what they say? I do not care that they shout death to America. They can shout it from the fucking top of Mount Everest until we drop a nuke on it. I don't care.
Yeah. But
it is their problem. They are over there. I don't fucking care.
And it's crazy that it's like we're getting pulled into these proxy battles and proxy wars for Israel, or we're fighting with fucking CCP in Korea. Like, it's like we always have to be involved in something. Like, we always have to either Israel stirring the shit pot, or we have to show that we're here. Like, our foreign policy fucking sucks, bro. Like,
and who else agrees with the notion that this is Israel's war that we're just getting involved in? Who else? Who else shared that notion?
Oh yeah, no, I was just seeing that the other day. I was actually like reading a bunch of different people posted it, and what they were saying.
And this was no small poll. This,
oh yeah,
and when this happened, this still had 16 hours left. This had almost 245,000 votes almost at the time. Charlie Kirk agreed that this was Israel's war against Iran. And this was I don't know when this was posted. This one specific. Obviously, it was sometime last year. before we bombed the nuclear facilities.
Mm-hmm.
But Charlie Kirk agreed that this was Israel's war that the U.S. was about to get involved in. So it's like we're not just sitting here trying to say, "Oh, it's the Jews this, the Jews that, and we're anti-Semitic." No, like this is the state of Israel's bullshit that we keep getting wrapped in.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not anti-Semitic at all. I'm anti-Zionist, but I'm not anti-Semitic. Look, I am against the Israeli government. I'm against what Mossad's doing. Like,
Which is what we say all the time. Like, trust no fucking
just
government.
like there's good fucking Muslims, there's also good fucking,
Jews.
Jews. There's also shitty Muslims, shitty Jews. There's shitty Christians, shitty or good Christians, across the board, man. Look, shitty white people, black people, brown people, yellow people, fucking, I don't know what other, red people, what other colored people are there? I don't fucking know. I'm not racist, so don't take that as racist. But no, seriously, like there's shitty men, shitty women, shitty trannies, shitty kids, good of all of them. Like I hate hearing this bullshit of all these people are bad, all these people are good. We can't have Islam in Texas because it doesn't jive with our constitution. We can't have fucking, like, it's like, you dumb motherfucker, you keep saying this shit and you're talking about stomping on their constitutional rights, the same First Amendment right that you have, and you start taking their rights away. Well, that gives a precedence to the government to say, oh no, now you're a fucking religious extremist as a
Yeah,
Christian or
and
Hindu or whatever you are.
the thing is though, it's like, look, obviously, we're Christians, and we sit here and say, like, obviously we would like, more Christians, but that's not how the world works. That's not how the Constitution
Mm-hmm.
lines up. It's not how everything works. Now, I sent you that video of Myron Gaines, how he talked about the shit that was going on in New York. And I think he put it really, I think he said, well, because he himself is a Muslim, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he his family's he's an American. He's born in America, but his family is from Sudan in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But he himself is a Muslim, but he talked Sneeko, who converted to Islam. But Sneeko was very like, I wouldn't say like I was a Sneeko fan, but I used to like watch more of his content every now and then. But I don't care for him anymore just because he's one of those obnoxious fucking Islam guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Myron is very like, look, like, no, I'm Muslim, but like I'm not going to sit here and throw it in your face. Like, this is not a Muslim country. This is a Christian country, and
Mm-hmm.
he's talking to, and he was talking about how they shut down Times Square and they're praying in the middle of the fucking street and, causing the disruption, you know what I mean? Being obnoxious. And he's talking about he's like, you guys don't fucking realize like what they're doing. They're showing, this is a show of dominance. He's like, and this is coming from a Muslim man. Like, I'm sitting here saying this is a show of dominance, and you guys cannot, you guys can't be fucking pissed when white Christians get like retaliated back. They have every fucking right to. This is their country. This is not a Muslim country, and you're out here causing a disruption, blocking off streets, and being fucking obnoxious and making the rest of us Muslims look bad when we just want to be here, live our life, pray at a fucking mosque in silence in our homes, and you're out here making us look like fucking idiots, like we're trying to take over everything when we just want to be left the fuck alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, so, and we were talking, I don't remember. I think it might have been when we were at the thing with Doc yesterday for the Independence Day thing. I can't remember for sure, but we were talking about the Muslims and all that. We were talking about Dearborn and all that. And I expressed my thought that I think someone brought up Carmen to me. She's running for 38 Congress. She's from Venezuela. She
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like yes, so she was the Miss Venezuela or whatever. Is super smart, wrote a book, very much wants to live the American dream. Uh, completely assimilated, talks out against communism, socialism, everything, dictatorship. Great chick, bro. Like she really is. You'd like her. She's good. Um, but I was asked like, um, Maze is up 40-30 over Chip, but Aaron, how did your fucking twin brother Aaron Reeds only get 14%? He looks just like you, bro.
Dude, he looks
Anyways,
nothing like me, you fucking cunt.
bro, he looks so much like you. Um, he really does. He really does. And it's not just because both
Shut
of y'all are
up.
Mexicans. Anyways, so someone had said something to me about, well, you need to get behind Carmen or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
You don't need to do a goddamn thing. Fuck you.
Yeah, essentially like, but, look into her, and I was like, look, I've met Carmen. I like Carmen. She's smart, super smart. She talks the same shit that we talk. Like, she's good. I can't morally support her because she is an immigrant. And well, what do you mean? Why not? I was like,
First generation?
it is not, huh?
First generation or
She escaped Israel. Oh, I'm sorry, not Israel, Venezuela. Yeah, fucking Israel. She escaped Venezuela to come here, and
yeah.
she lives in the center of the district and all that. So she's running. And I think she's lived here for 18 years now or something. I don't remember. But I was like, I can't morally support her. Like I can't say one thing and then do something different. Like if I
Yeah.
say something, I got to stand on it. And I was like, look, immigrants shouldn't be running for any office, public office in this country. I was like, I'm on the fence on should immigrants be able to be cops, law enforcement and shit. Like because you're giving people power. And I said, look, it's easy to show like you're assimilating. Okay, it's like certain parts of the military do. And I'm going to be a little bit vague on it, but certain parts of the military, certain units, what they do is they go into hostile environments.
Yeah.
They essentially show that they're assimilating with the locals. They befriend them. They get them on their side. They essentially cause a rebellion, or whatever. So, but they essentially, show that they're assimilating to get in there to redirect people or to let more people in. And just like happened in Dearborn, these assholes that came over that are, Muslim, these radical Islam, they come in and they're running for office. They're, getting badges and guns and they're doing this and that, the other, acting like they want to live the American dream. And guess what they ultimately do? They get that office. They start bringing in, all these other Muslims in there that are, following more of a radicalized Islam, this, anti-America Islam, Sharia law Islam. And then they get in there and then they start changing policy to, benefit them, not all the other, Christians and Buddhists and atheists and whatever else that has lived in that area for the last, you know, 200 years.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I can't. And then, but what was said to me was like, you do have a point there. Like, you're right. You were 100% right about what you're saying there. And, but I was just like, look, I like Harmon. I can't vote for her. Like, if she won, like, good for her. Like, she's a good one, but, or at least she looks like a good one. I just can't vote for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Dude,
what?
they're saying that the IRGC destroyed a radar that tracks U.S. A 5,000 kilometer early warnings U.S. missile system across the Gulf.
No,
on
not
Qatar.
5,000, 5 billion.
No, 5,000 kilometers. Not,
Oh,
and it's only worth 1 billion.
oh, I thought I saw something that they destroyed something that was like 500 billion or something.
No, and
Half a trillion dollar.
this just happened.
Oh shit.
IRGC claims successful destruction of radar at Qatar. Radar provides 5,000 kilometer early warning system for U.S. missile early U.S. warning systems across the Gulf, for including Patriots and THAAD.
Oh shit.
Its loss creates a detection gap, forcing reliance on alternative assets like Bahrain radars and satellites.
Oh shit. Speaking of the Middle East, here, let me throw you on a fucking rabbit hole real quick. You know how I know that Epstein's not dead?
Because he's in Tel Aviv.
Well, beyond that. Oh, speaking of that, I saw a fucking post the other day on fucking X. It said reports are in, billionaire and like fucking investment or whatever fucking individual Jeffrey Epstein was killed in Tel Aviv, and it made me fucking laugh my ass off. But it was like one of those bullshit posts. Okay, so the reason that we know that Epstein is not dead is that he didn't have a prostate. That's how we know.
And why do we care about that?
Well, because the he's got emails in the Epstein file that talk about him having his prostate removed is why he needs Viagra. But on the autopsy after he committed suicide, air quotes, on the coroner report, it says that he had a good, normal functioning prostate, and our bodies can't grow a prostate back after it's been removed. It also said that he didn't have special testicles, like he had like, you know, inferior testicles.
There was also a couple of things. Like I saw it on Ian, like watching a couple of Ian Carroll's videos showing that I guess Epstein had like an Xbox account or something. Like he played gaming account. I can't remember if it was Xbox or PlayStation, but he had a gaming account.
I don't know. The only one I know is the FedEx account.
Well, no, that too. But when I'm talking about like actual gaming, like to play online gaming, and I think like the screen name or whatever it was is like in the files or something, and it's been active since after his death.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if he. Well, I don't know. Like maybe someone picked up his Xbox or his PlayStation as like playing on his account. I'm just saying,
like the account's been active, and then of course that FedEx account was showing active in Israel. So
yeah. But have you heard about the prostate shit before?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah,
but
we all saw that fake cadaver where the nose and the ear was just not because an ear is like a fingerprint. It's very specific. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like when it comes to the nose, like I mean, given like a nose can still be pretty specific, like, but like it's like the nose I can give like some like maybe, but the ear is like no, there's no give. The ear is like a fingerprint.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to think whatever you can use ears as an identifier for long range to in the military. Yeah. So I don't know, but no, whenever I was, looking into that prostate thing, I was just like, holy shit, bro. Like it said he, had a good liver, good prostate, or a good bladder, and it said like the bladder had this amount of piss in it or whatever. He had a good prostate. He had, his testicles weren't special. Like, and is like, well, how the fuck does he have a prostate whenever, in the Epstein file, it says that he doesn't have a prostate? Because someone had asked him like in an email, like, hey Jeff, like, how you got such a sex drive? Didn't you have your prostate removed? And Epstein replied, "Oh, it's the Viagra." He's like, "Yeah, I did. It's the Viagra." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
All right, we got to wrap up.
Yeah, I guess. I was want to send Doc a congratulations text tonight too.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see if we have a midnight miracle.
Yeah, I know. I'll. I don't know. I'll text him. I don't know. I may text him tomorrow and be like, "Hey, what's the next step?" Like, where do we go from
Well,
here? We have 4 years to plan. 4 years to
um,
plan. Let's start fucking looking for funding. Let's start getting your name out there. Let's start pushing this fucking message, this narrative, and
well, not
you
only
know,
that, what I think we should do, um, is start is build like obviously with him for governor again, right?
mhm,
But build a
coalition.
grassroots coalition
Yeah,
to go for every like for lieutenant governor, for
yeah, every
AG,
seat.
for like,
Yeah,
and start using this time to really get out there and
yeah,
promoting people of like people that are truly like Texas first, American
yeah.
first, that are not going to be able to be bought and sold and paid for. We're not going to sit here like we'll hear from big donors that are vetted, but I mean, I'm pretty solid, and I don't know how you feel, but I'm pretty solid about giving the big fuck you to any packs because I don't trust any packs.
You know, yes and no, and here's why I'm on the fence. Okay, big packs, yeah, for the most part. Small packs, it depends.
That's why I say big.
Yeah,
Like super
yeah,
packs and stuff like that. Like I don't trust them.
yeah.
They
No,
always
I
have a
agree.
caveat. So
And here's my thing, like, if we could really get his message out and, like, everyone could really band together, get his message out, and do a grassroots, donating and funding the campaign, and essentially camp the whole coalition and say, "Look, these are the individuals that want the best Texas for you. This is this guy, here's what he's platforming on," and everyone is essentially aligned in their party positions and what they want. And and look, there might be guys in government right now that it might be like, okay, look, that guy's in there, he's a good one, let's align with him.
yeah,
We're If I get in, we're going to give him a situation where he can do what he wants and he can do better. Where right now his hands are tied behind his back. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's that type of situation. But you spend the next 4 years of just saying, this is who Doc is. This is who this guy is. This is who that guy is. Blah 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 blah, and down the line. And look, yes, super PACs have a lot of money. It is, but you know, look at the population in Texas. We've got a big population, and if we could really flip some of these fucking Abbott guys, it would, look, is Abbott going to run again in 4 years? He's old and decrepit, highly doubted. But if he did, it's another primary situation, and we just have to spend the next 4 years of getting Doc's name out there and Doc getting his own name out there. And I know he's been doing great about talking to people, and he'll talk to anyone that comes up to him. He
yeah,
treats everyone like they're his best friend.
yeah,
Like he really fucking he sees himself as one of them, and he looks at himself with that servant mind.
yeah,
So, you know, he's just got to get out there and with a coalition and say, look, you know, we need more money. Can you donate 18, you know, you know, bucks or whatever? Can you donate,
$18.36.
yeah, can you, donate, 1,836 bucks, you know what I mean? 18, 1,300 bucks, like whatever someone can give, but really, really, get the people behind him. And look, when you get people that invest in you, they want to see you through. Whenever
Yeah,
you can get that person to donate that $1 or that 1830, you know, when you can get those people to start investing in you, that's where they're invested in you to the point where you're going to win. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So no one wants to lose money. Fuck. Yeah. Fuck. Man, I'm done with these politicians. Fuck them.
All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. But never forget, most importantly,
Epstein didn't have a prostate. That's what we can't forget. He's living in Tel Aviv. Oh,
Texas
that,
forever.
yeah. Takes forever. Go fuck y'all.
Motherfucker.